Hi, good day everyone. Today I'm going to show you another tutorial on Boxshot 3D. And this is going to be a special one because I understand that now there's this craze about iPhone. Hence I'm going to create an iPhone using Boxshot 3D. As you can see here, this is an interface that I've introduced to you in the previous tutorial. And now I'm going to go to File and create a new sample scene using the presets that is given in Boxshot 3D. And here is a dialog box that shows all the presets that is available. You can actually easily create from one of these presets and tweak whatever from here, and it's going to be fast and easy and convenient to create an e-cover. And you can see here there is this preset for 2 iPhones, which I'm going to select here. And next I'm going to click OK. As you can see here, this is a preview, and on our right are all the different options. Alright, basically make up of 5 main tabs, and under shapes there's these 3 main tabs. All of these tabs we can actually tweak. Some of them will use it, some of them will won't. So in this case we're going to use iPhone. Alright, I'm going to introduce briefly some of the features that we'll be using, but we need not have to tweak every one of them. So we're going to start with shapes. As you can see here, the preset actually comes with an option here. We can actually turn it off or on by checking the item, or left or right. Alright, so from here you can see that we can actually tweak based on the presets. And let us look at the transformation. In transformation, you are basically allowed to move, rotate, and scale the image. If you click the down arrow, for example, offset axis, you can see it disappears. So basically this has got to do with the movement. Okay, let me undo by Ctrl Z. As you can see here, the preview are instantaneous. Alright, so for here I'm not going to explore too much. Now we'll proceed on to images. Alright, under this preset for iPhone, basically there consists of 4 different options that make up this whole iPhone. We can actually change the color and assign an image to this iPhone cover. Alright, if you look at image, this is basically what you're going to see here. Now I'm going to change it to the usual iPhone interface that we usually come across. Alright, but before you do so, make sure you have to check on which one you are selecting. So now I'm going to add it on the right iPhone model. Okay, basically here we can change the image by clicking on this button. I'm going to select a screenshot. Alright, this screenshot I can easily get it from the search engine. Alright, for the purpose of demo, this is what I come up with. Approximate image of the screen capture of iPhone. Alright, there's something here that I need to do because the image is not properly cropped. So I'm going to click on this crop button. Alright, so this is the image that I'll be using. So what I do is, under this crop image dialog box, what I do is I scale up the display. I want the whole image to be displayed instead of a crop image. Well, you can actually tweak and change the configuration from here, but this is faster for me. Alright, once I'm done with, I just click commit. That is to accept what is the cropped image for. And immediately you'll see an update. Okay? The program will actually crop according to your image. And next comes the body. Body is basically the color of the iPhone. So from here you can change any of these colors. Now this is terrible. I'm going to change it back to black. And Chrome is got to do with the sides of the iPhone and elements, things like that, which I'm going to leave it as per normal. There'll be no change. Okay, what you're seeing here on this preview, you might see that the image is not that sharp and there's some jagginess along. This is basically the preview. As in the final preview image or render image, so-called, it will be different. So let us click on the left iPhone now and start changing it. Now for this particular one, I'm going to change the screen and the body color only. Okay, I have another image. Basically, it can accept a JPEG or PNG. So for the purpose of demo, I'm just going to show you the difference between a JPEG and PNG. For JPEG itself is actually a standard file that for use on the web, or PNG is basically the same thing, but it comes with transparency. Alright, so I'm going to select this one now. As usual, I'm going to crop this image because this is not what I want. And I click commit. Alright, next thing, I'm going to click on the body. I'm going to select white because iPhone consists of a white model and a black model. Alright, we are done with the changes. As you can see, everything fits nicely. Alright, the next few steps that I'm going to do is basically tweaking. There's not much of an option to change anyway because everything is quite straightforward in this case. We can actually change some of these variables if you have the time and the interest to tweak, or else it will be as per standard. So for example, if you're going to change the horizontal angle of the camera, what you can do is you can drag the slider and the values will update automatically, or you can input a value such as 80 and it will change or updates itself. Alright, so the rest of the options feel free to explore, and comes next to the lighting. Lighting, you basically can have drop shadow by unchecking or without. So it's basically up to your preference. Spectacle lighting is got to do with the reflection on the cover itself. So by altering all these values, you can tweak the way you want your image going to look like in the final one. With this, I'm going to proceed next to scene. Again, here there's not much of a tweaking except that I'm going to change the background color. As you can see, the white iPhone cover is not so obvious when it compared to the background color of the background. So hence I'm going to change it to a slight different color to differentiate the model to make them look more outstanding. And basically we are done with that. Here is the additional option with floors receive shadow. So if you turn this option off, basically it doesn't have shadow on the floor. See the difference now? Okay, next, now we go to render option. Okay, what you're seeing here is basically the preset options of what you want your image to be rendered as in terms of your dimensions. They also have a custom feature whereby you can actually input all these values. So if I change any of these values, this rectangular which you're showing now will be the actual dimension size that you will be outputting the file as. So now if you need a custom size, basically you can do that. Alright, and in terms of quality, there's 4 main choices here. Draft and web are basically for low res, such as 72 dpi, and print and high-end are meant for printing purposes. If you need to render your image as high res, these are the 2 options that you should choose. But I want to warn you first, for high-end it's going to take a long time unless you are outputting this image for a wall poster. You should not choose this image. And unless your computer is high-tech enough to render at a very fast speed, I would not advise you taking this option. Normally, print is sufficient enough. And you see this big button here, Start Render. This is where you can see your render in action. Alright, so since this is what I can come up with, let us go by a Start Render. And next, the software will come up with the render scene. Then depending on your computer speed, the dialog box will display the time it takes to render this whole image. As you can see here, it is relatively fast and the software is very good at ray tracing. If you can observe, the shadows and the rendering is much nicer than the preview. Well, usually it will take some time depending on the complexity of the model rendered. Alright, it's done now. So this whole rendering took only 57 seconds. And it's relatively fast because it's meant for print. You can either have the option to copy to clipboard by clicking on this button, or you can click the button Save Image. And under Save Image, you have 4 options, either to save as a PNG, JPEG, TIFF, or bitmaps. So for web use, PNG or JPEG is sufficient enough. If you're going for high print, then I suggest that you select TIFF or bitmap. Alright, so in this case, I'm going to just use it for the web, so I'm going to select this option JPEG. Alright, once done, I've just clicked OK because I already have saved my file. I want to open the file again. This is what I have. Do you notice the difference between the rendering done in a normal eCover application and Boxshot 3D? Basically, Boxshot 3D actually gives you very nice render image, rendered using ray tracing technology. This is very obvious as can be seen from the shadows and from the rendering and from the reflection that is seen in the image itself. Okay, that's all for today. The purpose of this tutorial is to let you see the capability of Boxshot 3D and how well it can render using ray tracing. Until then, bye bye.